When your own fans have to plan a re-release date for your own single and pretend like it came out on a different day, seems a little fishy to me. The line distribution, it does suck. And as a 21 and 80s fan, hi, welcome. This is an episode of Whack-Ass Things I Found on Stan Twitter. A series where I dive into some ridiculous things that I, of course, found on Twitter or things that you guys have brought to my attention. My name is Angelina, I'm your host, and you should subscribe because it's the polite thing to do. You could also follow me on Instagram where I'm doing a rainbow. And also, I just really want that swipe up feature. So recently, Blackpink have released a single with Selena Gomez that is called Ice Cream. And honestly, even before the music video dropped, there were people complaining, and I made a video about this, why people were unstanding Blackpink. So you can check out that video after you're done with this one. But essentially, there were a lot of people angry that Blackpink were not collaborating with Ariana Grande. And thusly, they decided they were going to unstan. But before we really dive into this, I do need to say that criticism is okay. Criticism is welcome. You are 100% allowed to not like ice cream. When you put something out into the world, when you put art out into the world, of course, it is open to criticism. There is absolutely no escaping it. But really, the larger the audience you have, the more you're going to find very differing opinions. So no matter how you feel about the song, if you think it's a bop, if you think it's empty, that is 100% valid. I'm literally not going to sit here and tell you that you have to love everything that your faves put out because that's just not realistic. That being said, even if you hated the song and you still want to support Blackpink by supporting the song, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. Today, we're not talking about the criticism. I mean, I have my own criticisms too, but I wanted to really talk about the backlash and the hate that has literally been plaguing everything related to Blackpink and this comeback. From Blackpink's comment section to even huge fan accounts who are refusing to buy the album, refusing to show their support for reasons that we will be discussing. So let's discuss this, and I'll also be sharing with you what I think of all of this. Again, criticism is fine, but when you're spreading hate, when you're being super malicious, that's when it crosses a line. When you're an online presence, hate is absolutely inevitable. I mean, I'm irrelevant as hell and I still get threats. But this time for Blackpink, it just seems a lot harder to drown out. The hate was getting so bad that actually there are some people who want a redo. My friend sent me this screenshot of someone's comment section and it says, "We will be having an ice cream redo on September 2nd, 6 p.m. KST. All Blinks are obligated to participate, which means we will be streaming on Spotify, YouTube, and Shazam. Vote on all platforms and buy ice cream on iTunes. Let's do it like it's the comeback day. Spread it." I mean, imagine how bad it has to be for your fans to pretend like your song came out on a different day. So issue number one is Blackpink's comment sections. From the very beginning of the release, as soon as the music video made its way onto YouTube, you could see in the comment section that it was the same comment over and over and over again. You know, some people say that it happened with How You Like That, and it also happened with Dynamite by BTS, but I didn't personally see it or notice it, and I don't think it became as much of a thing as it is now, because literally every single comment was the same exact comment. And they all read, "No one, literally no one, everyone, comment this and get nothing of likes." Which I don't even know what that means, but there are some theories behind this. And one theory that sticks out the most is that people are trying to freeze their views. So if I'm not mistaken, How You Like That broke a YouTube record with most views in this amount of time, but then BTS Dynamite came out and that broke the record. So it seems that there were individuals or people who didn't want Blackpink's song to break that record once again. And it seems that maybe by commenting this, maybe by spamming the comment section with so much spam that it could potentially freeze the views. YouTube might think of these as bots being sent in, might think of it as something, malicious, that someone's trying to buy views, and then that way the views would be frozen. And then by the time the record is about to be reached, we wouldn't have an accurate view of how many views there actually is. Now, I absolutely don't understand the logistics behind this. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know that if that would really slow down views. But as I mentioned in my review of the song, YouTube is usually really good with filtering out spam comments. Because I mean, my spam folder is huge. There's so many comments in there that honestly don't even belong in there. So I'm really sorry if you think I'm deleting your comments. A lot of them go into the spam folder. So I mean, YouTube has a whole ass system, so I'm not sure how this kind of slipped through the cracks. To see so many comments that are obviously spam. I mean, there's no question about it. They're obviously spam, but they're staying on the video. I mean, that's fishy. But maybe the comments were just so numerous and YouTube just couldn't quite keep up, but I don't know. Which some people have pointed out that maybe bots were being used to be able to post the same comment in huge quantities over and over again. And obviously this is an issue because number one, that's literally all you could see in the comment section for quite a while on the music video, which honestly doesn't reflect well, right? It obviously starts fan wars, but you know, ultimately it is very upsetting to see a group that you love just have so much spam. I mean, to even think about how that happened, how much dedication someone might have to be able to accomplish something like that. I mean, it seemingly has some malicious intents behind it. 2 days after the fact, I looked at the comment section, and though there's not spam, there's still a lot of hate. And on that note, this brings us to issue number 2. And that's essentially big Blackpink fan sites actually boycotting this release and boycotting the album, stating that they will not support the album, they won't buy the album because of some members' mistreatment. Here's the thing. Right off the bat, if someone doesn't want to buy an album, you literally can't force them. But I've seen some tweets from very large accounts that essentially say that the line distribution is so bad that they refuse to support the album. The following tweet basically expressing that if you don't buy the album, then the sales will drop and hopefully force a change within the company, force the company to kind of treat the members much better than they are now, because it shows that fans are actually going to act out on how they feel. But if you do buy the album, then you're supporting unfair treatment. Now, I did talk about line distribution in my review, and I said like it was pretty bad, and it was pretty bad. I mean, like... So there are, of course, Blinks who agree with this, who agree that Jisoo's line distribution is absolute crap. Another tweet reading, "Give me a reason why Jisoo was featuring on Selpink's song when in fact she's a Blackpink member. She doesn't feel comfortable with English. The girl sang a whole clarity for her solo stage, and I thought it was a Korean comeback." In my review, I expressed that I didn't have to look at any line distribution charts. I knew in my heart that she had the least amount of lines, and a lot of people were saying, no. She got the second least amount of lines. To which I would respond, if you think there's any way in hell that she is the one singing Ice Cream Chillin', that does not sound like her. If you can like show me tangible proof that that's actually her voice, because it doesn't sound like her voice, I will change my mind. But as of right now, I maintain my point of view. The line distribution, it does suck. And as a 21 and 80s fan, I mean, it is what it is. But it does seem super odd to me to advocate for someone's mistreatment who is just like swimming in success and brand deals and money and just like overall someone who's part of a group that's taking over the world, and you're like, but the line distribution. I feel like if you're gonna advocate for an idol's mistreatment, it would be more along the lines of, you know, they haven't had a comeback in 3 years. I'm worried that they've actually disbanded. I'm worried that they're not getting any support from the company. I'm worried they're getting kicked out of their dorms. Do you know what I mean? I feel like line distribution is kind of the least of our worries. But it's fine. You're valid, but like, I'm just confused. So on one hand, we have people who agree with this, who are supporting the boycott, but then there are people who are like super angry about this. And at first I didn't understand it because I'm like, who cares if this fan site doesn't buy the album? But I don't know, I've been reading a little bit about it, and it seems that these fan sites might have a lot of money and might actually be purchasing like a lot of albums each comeback. So I think people are scared because that lack of support could be quite detrimental, or they fear that it would have an impact. But that's how like things should work. If you don't support something, you don't throw your money at it. And you know, even if I don't necessarily agree with line distribution, like yes, it's shitty, I can admit to that, but I don't take it as that terrible. Like I don't take it so seriously like that. It's still not my money, and I can't tell people what to do with it, though I do think, you know, we should eat the rich. But I digress. In light of the terrible line distribution, it seems that a lot of people have started to send hate towards Lisa, who seemingly has a lot of lines and even has her own full rap, which is interesting because on top of people thinking that, Jisoo is mistreated, there are so many people who also think that Jennie is somehow mistreated because she hasn't rapped in the last few comebacks. And honestly, I just find this fixation on Jennie rapping quite interesting because, she's an amazing singer and she's an amazing rapper as well. So I don't think it's really necessary to demand one over the other, if that makes sense. I think it's a talent and I think it's okay for YG to kind of explore both facets of that. So for me, I don't see that as a huge issue if she's either singing or just rapping because it sounds nice either way. But regardless, Lisa's excessive amount of lines has gotten her a lot of hate from a lot of people, and some people even noticed that while other members were promoting ice cream on their Instagram accounts, it seemed that Lisa's account was quite inactive, some even alleging that YG may have taken over her account due to the amount of hate, but just know that I cannot personally confirm that. But for a while, if you'd go on her pictures, the top comments were like vomit emojis or people asking her to leave Blackpink, people blaming her for how many lines she has, and ultimately just really disgusting things. She has, however, since been posting about ice cream, posting her own pictures, but the initial hate was honestly quite bad. If you look at one of her posts before ice cream was released, you see it has 56,000 comments, but then the post right after has over 500,000 comments. And I think that definitely says a lot. Luckily now, if you go to her post, it is filled with a lot of love. You still see some hate comments here and there, but it's definitely not as bad as it was on the release date. But honestly, no matter how passionately you feel about line distribution, no matter how much you tie that into an idol's mistreatment, at the end of the day, it is literally not deep enough to be sending people that much hate. That's just disgusting. So for Jisoo fan sites, it seems that they're really angry with the line distribution. But for Rosé fan sites, I think I've heard she does have very little lines as well, but I feel like her parts are very impactful. So to me, it balances itself out. But I've seen tweets of people who are saying like she has the same hair every single comeback, and that needs to change. I don't know. Like sometimes I understand where people are coming from, but then other times I feel like people might be coming from a place of entitlement. When you feel entitled to what your idol does. If you're concerned about her hair health, I get that. But also in terms of marketing, it's important to create an iconic look for yourself. A look that's exclusive to you, a look that is recognizable. So I understand that aspect because people like familiarity. Until they don't. I don't know what that was, but let's move on to issue number 3. So the third thing that has really caused a lot of issues for some people is the lyrics. I can't stop hearing people talk about how raunchy they are, how disgusting it is. And I don't entirely get it. People are saying they're doing childish things or acting cute while singing explicit lyrics. And I'm like, ultimately, lyrics are up for interpretation. And Becca Boom, who is a co-writer and producer of this song, has expressed a lot of the meaning for the lyrics. And she's explicitly said that this song is about a woman knowing her worth. And I take absolutely no issue with that message. Are there double meanings to some things? Probably. But I feel like people are sexualizing Blackpink a lot more than it was originally intended. I've heard people say, but what about the children? And I'm like, do you actually think a child will understand a damn thing about these double meanings? I had to listen to the song 5 times before even recognizing that there was some type of sexual meaning to it. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually an explicit song. You can take whatever meaning you want and think whatever you want about that. You can do that for any song. You can dig for any song and find what you're looking for. A lot of people are pointing out that the lyrics are very genital centric. But then Becca gives some of the explanation for the song and it's like, okay, that's not what everyone is telling me it's about. Keep it fresh, like roses. People think it means a certain thing, but then she goes on to express, it also means that her guy should keep things interesting in the relationship. Don't get boring, buy me roses, surprise me, all of that. But what has come under the most fire in terms of lyrics is definitely the play the part like Moses line, which people thought was quite Honestly, I can't really explain it in detail without getting demonetized, but just understand that people thought it was quite explicit in nature. But she explains in this interview that I'm gonna need you to top that if you're my man. That is the standard. If you can't part the sea, then you can't party with me. So again, I think it's another instance where people kind of overestimate how far the lyrics really go, because people really thought it was quite explicit, but then she expresses that, it's about Moses being the standard. Either way, some people just feel simply uncomfortable with the references. I'm not going to say much about it because I'm not religious, but I did want to point out her statement in regards to that. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of this line and if you think it's offensive. And you can check out the 17 interview where she explains the lyrics more in depth, but honestly, a lot of these meanings are definitely not as bad as people are portraying them to be. And definitely not as bad as some actual K-pop lyrics that exist in this world. If you're mad at Blackpink for doing this while also praising male idols for doing the same thing, for sexualizing schoolboy uniforms or whatever the hell the case may be, then that is misogyny. That's all I'm saying, because there are people who are saying, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, if it's explicit, I just don't like it. That's valid. My point is, if you're treating Blackpink differently than you would a male idol group for doing the same exact thing, then there's an issue. I've even seen some people who are like, I wonder what she means by like, he's my favorite flavor and I always have to pick him. And it's like, it could just be literally her meaning, I like this guy. But everyone's like, no, there's actual meaning to it. She's talking about certain body parts. And I'm like, I don't know anymore if people are just projecting their own insecurities onto women who seem to be confident in doing fine. I don't know. Sometimes the author of a certain work can mean something so basic and people are like, but no, it means more than you think it does. But even my mom, when Lisa was like, pop it like a wheelie, she was like, this is inappropriate. I was like, Mom, just let Blackpink breathe. But let us move on, lest I become a broken record. Okay, so that is basically it for this video. Thank you so much if you made it this far. My watch time thanks you. I think we've covered all the bases of why people are acting pretty weird in terms of this comeback in particular. So let me know in the comments down below why you think this comeback has been so different from the other comebacks. Do you think it's because they're just garnering up bigger audiences, and the bigger audience you have, the more potential for backlash, the more people want to see someone fall? Because I've mentioned this before, at the end of the day, most people don't care about mental health. Most people don't care about what the right thing to do is. As long as someone has the potential to fall, people want to see that happen. So let me know. As for me, I'm gonna get going, but don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with friends you don't have. You can also follow me on Instagram. Also, I released a playlist called Post-APOCALYPTIC. So much like my first playlist, Magical K-Pop, this playlist is a mix of 2nd gen songs, 3rd gen songs, 4th gen songs, everything to give you that post-apocalyptic feeling, because the world is probably ending. So if you want to play this at like the end of the world party, I feel like it really fits the vibe. Huge shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me every single month. If you'd like to become a channel member, click on that join button next to the subscribe button. And I've been filming for 40 minutes, so I'm gonna go now. Bye!